All right, hard to believe that week 8 of the high school football season is upon us, but here we are out at Lions Pride Stadium at Briarwood Christian School today for another Under the Lights podcast presented by KEYSYS. I'm Kyle Parmley, joined today by special guest Briarwood coach Matthew Forrester. Coach, welcome into the show. We're high atop the press box out here. School's getting started on this day, so you got a big game on Friday night against the Cavs. You guys getting ready for it?
Yeah, we're really excited about it. I mean, it's got major playoff implications for us, so we look forward to playing John Carroll. Coach Mara over there does a great job, and it's always fun to play John Carroll.
Yeah, so you guys have come off 3 really impressive region wins, and then the last 2 weeks have kind of been a backslide a little bit. So what do you see from the guys that you want to see this week to kind of rally the troops and get back on track?
Yeah, this is a week where we just need to play good, clean football. We've past couple of weeks we've had turnovers have been costly, drop passes, and then missed tackles. And you can't win football games if you're doing those 3 things. And so this is a week where we need to get back on pace. We need to protect the football. We need to secure the catches, and then we need to have good tackles that have lots of energy behind them.
Yeah, so for a full recap of Week 7 of the high school football season, go to the Under the Lights YouTube channel, which is linked in the description of this video. Full breakdown on all the games last week. But this is the Under the Lights podcast, and we're glad to be presented by KEYSYS, KEYSYS.io. Look, AI is kind of taking over the world these days. KEYSYS.io, they can put together a plan for you personally or your business, AI solutions that can be tailored to fit any of your needs. So as far as week 8, we talked about, Briarwood playing John Carroll this week. Is it kind of a win one more and you're in the playoffs?
Yes, it's a big deal. We need to win. If we can win our next 2 region games, we're then in a place where we're tied for first, and the tiebreaker H, G, K takes into place. So, yeah, we need to win to secure a playoff spot. And we need to finish out our region, and we need to be getting ready and fine-tuned for the playoffs.
Yeah, I know a lot of times you kind of see a team in week 1 or week 2, and you just assume that's what it's going to look like the whole year, and we just make a bunch of assumptions based on what we see early. But your team from the start of the year to now just looks wildly different. Like, how much do you enjoy seeing that process of a team kind of coming together, getting better, figuring things out?
Yeah, I mean, that's the joy of high school football, because if you are as good as you start the season, then you haven't done a good job of coaching during the season. So there has to be growth. There has to be maturity. The funnest part for me is watching these seniors step up. I mean, what Charles Dedman's done over the last several weeks has been incredibly impressive. And so each year, watching seniors step up, take the leadership mantle, and then really excel their play. I mean, there's been so many. Dane Whitehead, and what he's been kind of an unsung hero on our offense. Even though he's a receiver, he's one of the best blockers on the team. And so you're always excited to see the process of young men maturing. And that's what I've got to witness this year. It's been enjoyable.
Yeah, so it's been neat to see. We knew Charles Dedman coming into the year was kind of that guy at quarterback, but also seeing a guy like Jamison Barnes, where although he might be a little younger, he's kind of really thrived in his role.
Absolutely. I mean, the fact that we've got 2 quarterbacks, and the quarterback room is healthy, and the team is healthy, the locker room's healthy. I mean, that's a tribute to the character of those men, young men. It's also a tribute to their parents. And so the fact that we've been able to play 2 quarterbacks, they've been able to have their roles that help this team has been a really exciting thing.
How much do you enjoy kind of this latter part of the season when Briarwood's been a fixture in the playoffs all these years, and you're hoping to get back there? Just when it starts to cool down a little bit. We're not quite there yet, but when it starts to cool down a little bit and you guys are still playing football, how much do you love that?
Yeah, that's when I was first dating my wife and we eventually get married, the talk is like we're expecting the season with 3 preseason weeks and then a 12-week season. Like we're expecting for our season to always be 15 weeks long. Mm-hmm. And if anything more than the second round, we're incredibly excited. Anything less than the second round, we're really sad. Yep. And so that's just been, as long as I've been married and been in Briarwood, that's kind of been the expectation. And so I love when the weather starts changing, finally feels like real football. I was actually talking last night, like, to me, nothing says high school football in the state of Alabama like dead Bermuda. And you don't get to see that much
Right.
anymore because everybody's got the beautiful turf fields.
Yep.
But that is, I mean, the high school football, the passion, watching whatever side it is. There's something special about a high school boy playing his last football game and watching the emotions that come out. And so that time of year is just one of the great times.
Yeah. And so Friday night, another big game. Briarwood paying a visit to John Carroll for another region game. It'll be a lot of fun out there at Pat Sullivan Field. So that's our Under the Lights game of the week. Thanks to Coach Forster for joining us for a few moments to talk about it. Coach, good luck Friday night.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having us. Thank you for doing a great job.
All right, we appreciate Coach Forster joining us for a few moments to talk about the game of the week. And on the other side of the game of the week, John Carroll is going to be hosting that Briarwood team. John Carroll, tough loss last week to Winona. But if you're looking for a bright spot, their defense scores twice. You know, we saw Jackson Rankin pick 6. Bobby O'Farrell picks up a fumble and scores. So maybe that big playability of that John Carroll defense, they will hope that it can create a spark on Friday night at John Carroll. So all season long, our John Carroll football coverage brought to you by our friends at Barlow Wealth Advisory Group. You know, they're a little bit different type of firm. You know, from, a firm like theirs, you may not know that they have a diverse set of options that can help you out. So barlow-wag.com. Go check them out. Barlow Wealth Advisory Group. Big partners with our John Carroll coverage all season long. Big thanks to them. All right, so let's go back to the Thursday games. We've got a split schedule this week. 3 Thursday, a handful on Friday. So I will be heading to Pinson Valley on Thursday night for the Mountain Brook Spartans at Pinson Valley Indians ball game. So look, this Spartans team, they're a little banged up. They've been beat up a little bit. They come off the incredible win over Homewood and have to face top-ranked Clay Chalkville, and Clay Chalkville wins 49-0. Clay Chalkville is just rolling over anybody and everybody right now. But this Mountain Brook team, they're trying to get healthy. They're trying to make their playoff push, and this is going to be another region game that is a big deal for them. So this Pinson team, much improved over the last couple of years, and they did give Mountain Brook some trouble last year. So the Spartans are going to really be on the lookout for this matchup. They're going to go on the road, hoping to get a win and start to feel good about their playoff positioning as well. And when we talk about our Mountain Brook football coverage, our friends at Gun Dermatology are the people that you need to know. They've got 2 locations in Mountain Brook. They'll take care of all of your skincare needs. That's Gun Dermatology. All right, a couple of Class 7A Region 3 games on Thursday night. First off, we'll talk about Hoover hosting Tuscaloosa County. This is going to be senior night for the Bucks. And we've talked about this Hoover team and the ups and downs that this season has brought. They're starting to round into form. They've got a few wins in a row, starting to feel a lot better about themselves. They've struggled to put together 4 really good quarters of football, but I think we saw a little bit of that last week in a big win over Oak Mountain. This Tuscaloosa County matchup, T-County is, a program that Coach Chris Bell is trying to build back up, but Hoover is the much better team on paper. They should be able to win pretty easily in this one, and you should feel pretty good about the Bucks after this week as well. South Lake Orthopedics, less pain, more living. That's our Hoover Bucks football coverage sponsor this year, South Lake Orthopedics. So big thanks to them. And one more Thursday night game, Vestavia Hills playing Oak Mountain. The Rebels took care of things last week against Prattville after a bit of a back-and-forth start. I think this game was tied at 21-21. Head coach Robert Evans said that Prattville put together a whole new offensive game plan that the Rebels hadn't seen on film, and it worked for a little while. Vestavia kind of figured out what was going on, and they were able to pull away with a big second half. Quarterback Charlie Taff is playing at such a high level this year, and he returned after missing a game due to injury the bye week, but he came back in big-time form. Last week, I think he had 5 total touchdowns. And, you look at guys like Luke Stubbs, Carson Purdy, both went over 100 total yards in the ball game. So this Vestavia offense, so dangerous. They put up 50 points last week. So watch out for the Rebels. If they play the way that they've been playing, they should be able to take care of this matchup. This Oak Mountain team, they've got players on both sides of the ball, so you certainly can't take them for granted. This Oak Mountain Eagles squad under Shane McComb, always competitive, and will give Vestavia a fight on Thursday night as well. All right, so moving on to Friday, we've talked a little bit about our game of the week, so let's go through a few more games. We'll start with Spain Park at Chelsea. If you think back to about a year ago this time, these 2 teams were 6-0. It was the game of the week. It was kind of almost the Region 3 title game in Class 6A, but Spain Park really made a statement that night, and Chelsea it kind of started this downward slide for them the rest of the year. The schedule got really tough, and the Hornets were unable to win again. But it does feel a little bit different this time around because Chelsea, this team can run the football with the best of them. You got guys like Chase Malone, Adam Wheeler even in the backfield to go along with Malone and Morgan Barnes. And that three-headed monster running the football, Chelsea has been really hard to stop. They've hardly had to throw the ball at all the last several weeks. That running attack has been so good. So they will look to capitalize on that. Meanwhile, on the other side, Spain Park, what their offense can do, led by quarterback Brock Bradley. Ken Arrigo has had such a strong year from start to now. But even guys like Hudson Hibbard, you're seeing guys like him and Mason McClure come on strong as we get into the second half of the year. So Spain Park's starting to play really well. They've knocked off 7A teams. They've looked really good against teams like Helena, and they blew out Pelham last week in a game that we kind of thought would be pretty competitive with the way that Pelham has played so far this year. But Spain Park has been making a few statements lately. They will go to Chelsea on Friday night, and that's a big-time Region 3 game that I am looking forward to for sure. All right, so a few other Friday night games. The one that I'll be at, making the trip south, Hewitt-Trustful is going to play at Prattville in a 7A Region 3 contest. Hewitt-Trustful took their first loss of the year last week against Thompson. If you look at the final score, it says 34-12 Thompson. And don't get me wrong, Thompson was extremely impressive in that performance. But it doesn't quite tell the whole story because Hewitt-Trustful was within 3 points at the start of the third quarter, took the ball, drove all the way down to the 1 yard line, but a pick six on 4th and goal from the 1 really turned the tide of the game. And Thompson was able to ride that wave of momentum to the big win. After the game, head coach Josh Floyd, he admits in hindsight, sure, maybe he should have kicked the field goal, tried to tie the game, and play it out from there. But when you get that close to the goal line against a team and a defense as strong as Thompson's, you want to take every opportunity you can. So tough loss for the Huskies. Their run at number 1 in the Alabama Sports Writers Association poll is going to be just 1 week long. But this Huskies team, we've said it time and time again, they are one of the most impressive teams so far this season, at least when you look at their resume. So they're going to head to Prattville, and this Prattville team has been really improved. First-year head coach Bobby Carr has really gotten this team playing a lot better. They're a little inconsistent, a little up and down. They have their moments, like we saw last week against Vestavia. They played so well in the first half, but it kind of fell off in the second half. So this is a team that Hewitt-Trustful cannot take lightly. But the Huskies have been really good so far. If they go down and take care of business, you think the Huskies are feeling really good about their playoff positioning. They've still got a pretty solid chance at this point to host a first-round playoff game. All right, and then one more Friday night game. Clay Chalkville is going to Huffman. Talked a little bit about Clay Chalkville's performance against Mountain Brook last week. The Cougars have just been, they're far and away the best team that I've seen in Class 6A. Now, I haven't seen Parker or Saraland in person, but the way that Clay Chalkville's playing, it's hard for me to imagine that there's a better team than them in 6A right now. They're just doing it in every way imaginable. The offense, led by quarterback Aaron Fry, has got a weapon like Corey Barber this year that has just taken that offense to the next level. And that defense has pitched 3 shutouts already in 7 games. So the Cougars are going to notch another win. It's pretty safe to say. They're going to go to 8-0, and they're looking good. Let's see. As far as this week, Homewood is taking an open date, but I do want to remind you to go see our friends at The Edge. They've been bringing you our Homewood football coverage all season long. Homewood got back on track with a big win over Gardendale last week. So week 8, hard to believe. And we talked with Coach Forster, they're starting to dial in on what they need to do when it comes to playoff positioning. It's not going to be long before we can look at it and say, hey, here's where the region stacks up. You got a couple of region games left. You know what you've got to do. So we're getting to that point pretty quickly. Just a few weeks left in the regular season, and it will be playoff time before we know it. But that's all for this week's Under the Lights podcast presented by KEYSYS. Don't forget, KEYSYS.io. Any AI solutions can potentially be tailored for your business or personal needs. And we appreciate you watching. And we've got 2 nights of football this week, Thursday and Friday night. So join along for the ride. Follow us on X. The description has a link to all things Under the Lights. So be sure you're keeping up, and we'll see you next time.